Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, July 16th, 2024 City Council meeting. Before we start the meeting, let me read what I always read. Welcome to the meeting of the Walnut Creek City Council. The council is conducting this meeting from the council's chamber. This meeting is also being video streamed and can be viewed live or later on the city's website. As some attendees may be participating in their first Walnut Creek City Council meeting, I want to welcome everyone and talk briefly about the public comment process. For each item on the agenda, there will be an opportunity for public comment when that item comes up. Thus, if you desire to speak to an item on the agenda this evening, please hold your comments until the City Council considers that item. Additionally, we have a section on the agenda entitled Public Communications, which is for public comments for items not on the agenda. Any comments during public communications should not relate to an item that is on the agenda this evening. Consistent with Section 9.5 of the City Council Handbook, 30 minutes will be initially allocated for public communications for items not on the agenda. Additional time for public communications for items not on the agenda will be provided at the end of the open session if that is necessary. If you desire to provide a public comment, please complete a speaker identification card and line up behind the lectern at the appropriate time. Wait your turn, and when you approach the lectern, please state your name and the city of residence for the record. You will have 2 minutes to address the City Council. Please keep in mind that this is a city business meeting. The City Council has adopted rules of decorum to ensure that meetings are conducted efficiently and effectively, and that all members of the public have a full, fair, and equal opportunity to be heard. The City Council Handbook outlines decorum expected in the chamber and can be found on our website. All remarks should be addressed to the City Council. Please do not use threatening, profane, or abusive language which disrupts, disturbs, and otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the council meeting. Again, each speaker will have 2 minutes to make your remarks. Written comments submitted and received up to 2 hours before the meeting have been posted to the city's website for public review and are included in the meeting record, but will not be separately read. That being done, would you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May we please have the roll call?
Councilmember Francois.
Here.
Councilmember Silva.
Here.
Councilmember Wilk.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Darling.
Here.
Mayor Haskew.
Here. Item 2 on our agenda is the approval of the consent calendar. Is there anybody from the public who wishes to make a comment? I'm seeing none. Is there anybody on the council that wishes to pull an item? I'm not hearing anybody.
Madam Mayor, before the council makes a motion on this, as the council recall, after the episode down in Bell, the state legislature changed the Brown Act, and they do require that whenever the council is going to consider any actions that involve executive management compensation for a public agency, that we need to summarize the terms in the record as part of the meeting. And so with the council's concurrence, I will advise the council and the public that agenda items 2C and 2D relate to compensation adjustments for the department directors and for the city manager. The department director's salary plan provides for a 6% salary adjustment in July 2024, a 5% salary adjustment in June 2025, and a 4% salary adjustment in June 2026. The salary plan for the directors also makes adjustments to specified benefits that are provided to them. as well as reflects equity adjustments for the Administrative Services Director position, the Police Chief, and the Human Resources Director. That's all in relation to item 2C. With regards to item 2D, the City Manager contract amendment provides a equity adjustment plus a 6% salary increase effective in July 2024, and a 5% salary increase in June 2025, subject to a satisfactory evaluation. The City Manager's employment contract also includes an increase in the contribution to the 401A plan and increases the hours that Mr. Buckshire can redeem out of his general leave that he is accruing. And with that, that's a summary of both sets of agreements.
Thank you very much for that excellent summary.
And with that, thank you. I will move to approve consent calendars items A through H.
Second.
With the notation of the correction at the dais on
Yes.
item H.
Yes. Okay. All right. I think we've covered our bases. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Darling.
Aye.
Councilmember Welk.
Aye.
Councilmember Francois.
Aye.
Councilmember Silva.
Aye.
Mayor Haskew.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is public comments, and I am not reading that paragraph or 12. So if anybody wants to make public comments, please come down and avail yourself of the opportunity. You're it.
I thought I was number 3.
Oh, okay. Well, the other people didn't show. Okay.
No worries. Great, thank you. So, thank you, council, for letting me speak. I'm with Walnut Creek Downtown. I'm Donna Labriola, and I just wanted to give a quick update on some of our events that have already happened and what's coming up on the agenda. So first off, Uncorked, which happened on June 20th. We would like to thank Visit Walnut Creek, Broadway Plaza, and the Leisure Center for being partners on that event. It was tremendously successful. We had 750 guests that came out and spent 3 hours downtown. We had 29 businesses that participated, 18 pouring partners, and 53 volunteers that came out to help that make that event successful. Coming up, we still are in the middle of Summer Arts in Walnut Creek. Started in June and it goes through the end of August. We have a lot of great programs going on. Visit our website, www.walnutcreekdowntown.com, and the event schedule is up on that, and there is a dedicated page for it as well. We also have the Broadway Plaza Concert Series coming up August 1st, 8th, and 15th. And those should be great. They start at 7 o'clock every night. And the first one is 24 Karat Gold, a Bruno Mars tribute. Anybody interested? Come out. And then we have First Wednesday coming back on August the 8th from 5:30 to 9. We're anticipating about 5,000 people to come out for that. And we've extended that a little further on Locust Street. So we have a lot more vendors and more music and a lot more fun. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions, or just congratulations on the good work you're doing?
Great. Thank you very much. And thank you for your support.
You're welcome. Any other person like to come up and give a public comment? Is there a microphone on? I see no additional people to come up and make a public comment, so we will close that section. And we will do council member staff announcements and reports on activities. Attorney.
Thank
City
you.
Attorney.
Madam Mayor, I would like to report out that at the closed session on June 8th, 2024, the City Council, by a 5-0 vote, concurred with a recommendation from the Municipal Pooling Authority in the matter of Dugan versus Walnut Creek in a settlement amount of $2,350,000. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome, thank you. Go.
All right. Good evening, Dan Buckshire, City Manager. I do have 3 updates I'd like to provide this evening. The first is, I think we are all well aware, there was extreme heat here in Walnut Creek and the surrounding area for a considerable period of time, beginning the week of 4th of July and extending into last week. wanted to share that the city worked collaboratively with the county to provide cooling shelters during that time frame, so folks had a place to go. Do want to highlight that the county had some gaps in coverage on various days. We did open up some city facilities to fill in those gaps, and I do want to extend a special thanks to all of our staff that were involved in helping coordinate that, particularly those that worked over the holiday weekend to help staff those centers so that folks did have a place to go in order to stay safe. So good work by everybody involved in those endeavors. Additionally, want to share the announcement that went out last week that we will have a new assistant city manager joining Walnut Creek, Charles Ching. He will begin with Walnut Creek on July 31st, and we'll be happy to introduce him to the council more formally at that time. And then lastly, I'm pleased to share some good news, brag a bit about Walnut Creek, and that we did receive, once again, 2 awards related to our financial performance and reporting from the Government Finance Officers Association, also known as GFOA. We received the Distinguished Budget Award, and then also received a Certificate of Achievement for financial reporting for our financial reports. And would just note that we have received these awards most every year over the last 15 years, so we have a strong history of providing very clear documentation and sound financial reporting. And that's it, Mayor.
Thank you. Matt, can I start with you?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. I left my notes at home, so I'm going to be winging it, but I think I remember what I did. I serve on the Recycle Smart Board along with Councilmember Silva, and on that board, I am on the ad hoc franchise selection committee. So we're in the process of going out to bid for new contracts for garbage, recycling, processing, organics, composting. And we've divided I've explained it before in the past, I think that we've divided the process into post-collection and collection services. So we went out to bid for the post-collection services, and we received proposals, and staff is in the process of reviewing those proposals, and we'll be in a position to make a recommendation to the full board, likely by our October meeting. So we're making good progress there. And then along with Councilmember Silva, I also serve on the council's Housing and Community Development Committee, and we received a proposal from RCD, the housing developer at 699 Ignacio Valley Road, to request some amendments to the loan agreement and regulatory agreement for that, the loans that we've made to that project, all affordable project. So Councilmember Silva and I made a recommendation to the full council that'll come back, I believe, at our September meeting. Yeah. And they're in the process also of applying for state grant funding, which they should hear about next month. That's my update.
Thank you. Kevin, please.
All right, thanks. A few things happened over the last several weeks. One of them was the Bedford Gallery opening. I'm not sure who else here was able to do that, but congratulations to the staff and also to our curator as well. Cut, Paste, and Create. Lots of very cool 2D and 3D artwork. It runs through September, so you haven't missed out. You might have missed the opening, but you got a few more months to still check it out. My favorite one was over 1,000 swimming pools from Beverly Hills and Bel Air filmed from above, and you can see all the little pools there. So, where it was like a Where's Waldo, except Waldo wasn't there. I also attended in Cindy, Mayor Pro Tem Darling's case, where the Walnut Creek Downtown Board meeting. It was a really good meeting last week. I do want to have a big shout out to our Director of Planning, Erica Vandenbrand, that was there, and really lots of very direct questions coming from 24 of our downtown restaurateurs and businesses, talking about things that go well, but also challenges as well, and things they would like to see improving. Including one of the things that got a lot of discussion was the idea of a concierge or a welcome kit for new proposals of businesses. So I talked about this with our city manager before, and of course, our director, Vandenbrand, is familiar with it, so we'll be talking about, based upon availability, what's even possible. But it was a very good discussion, and again, just really big thanks. I thought you did a terrific job there. Thank you so much. I attended a Woodlands traffic open house that was run by Smidar Boardman, I'm not even sure what your title is now, but the traffic, I'm going to say the transportation and engineering guru. And this was at the Ignacio Valley Library, right around the corner from my house. You're never quite sure, especially during a day where it's 103 degrees, how many people are going to actually show. It was a great turnout. I was really impressed with not just the amount of people that showed up. We had a variety of different stations there, all staffed with people from our department. We had 2 police officers, including our own Sergeant Silva that's here in the room tonight. And with all the different questions that come up from this neighborhood that is they are involved, let's put it that way. They know what's going on in their neighborhood. They have lots of interest in speeding and traffic and development. And so the fact that we had this type of response of being available to them and for several hours, I was only able to be there for a half an hour. I was just really impressed. Nice job by Sminar and team. We did have actually had a couple openings, but one of them I went to was our first champagne bar, Fizz, that last weekend. So there was a champagne bar in Walnut Creek for those that want to celebrate or just have a drink after a meal. And then well, we have a little bit of time here. So I'm the liaison for the County Connection. I sit on the board of directors there. As I think I mentioned in our last meeting, Senate Bill 1031 is not going to be happening this year, which was looking to consolidate all the different transit agencies under one umbrella in the Bay Area. That is not going to be happening this year anyway. But there are a couple of bills coming up that we are made aware of, and I wanted to bring these up here because it could actually impact us too. One of them is SB 1116, where employers with any employees on strike for 2 weeks plus would be eligible for unemployment. Obviously, this is controversial, but this is making its way through. There's also Assembly Bill 1904, where buses have availability for yield signs to pop out as they merge into traffic. Now, some of this is for buses on shoulders, but I think about Ignacio Valley Road, especially during commute times when you have, and Treat, when you've got buses that are going up during heavily commute times, there will be the availability, should this pass, that a yield sign will then come out, much like a children's crossing. If you think about at children's crossings when those stop or yield stop signs come out. So this could be coming, just keep an eye on that. And then there is a pilot program in Martinez that'll be happening by the end of summer. It's an automated driving system for buses after the regularly scheduled buses run, and this would be automated buses. So we're going to see how this works on some city streets, and will this expand? We'll see. That's my report.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much. The couple of things to mention, and I will add to my colleague Matt Francois' report on Recycle Smart. One of the issues that we are grappling with as part of this new franchise agreement is really the fleet of vehicles that would be collecting the organics, the recycling, and the solid waste, or better known as the black, the blue, and the green bins. The under state law that was adopted in the last year or so, we have to transition to zero emission vehicles as part of this. The challenge comes in that there are not enough being made anywhere, and that we're competing with Caltrans, who has the same requirement and a much bigger fleet. So we are talking a lot about what that is going to mean, and what we will decide to do is a transition and a run-up, because it's not a rock solid all new vehicles. But ordinarily, when you get a new contract for garbage and solid waste and all of that, you ask the new provider or collector to have all new vehicles. But this will be a bit problematic as part of that. We're also looking at where the hauler or the collector would actually house its trucks, because it's not necessarily going to be the current provider of service. And if it's someone new, they're going to, so we're looking at being able to put under a lease option 12 to 15 acres of land in an appropriate location that is not only zoned for the housing and allow an accommodation of vehicles, but is also close enough so that we're not running up our vehicle miles traveled and increasing the emissions output while we're trying to reduce the emissions output. So more to follow on that, but had a robust discussion at our subcommittee about that yesterday morning. At the recent or last week's meeting of the board of the League of California Cities, of which I am one of the 55 board members, so it's a big table. We heard about 4 propositions that will be on the November ballot, and we took positions to support on 3 of those. Proposition 4, which is a $10 billion climate bond, will be up for approval by the electorate or the voters. And it is very interesting because the explanation of it is pages long because it's allocating buckets of funds to very specific programs. But some of those funds will be available in these categories. But out of the $10 billion, $3.8 billion is allocated for drinking water and groundwater, $1.5 billion for wildfire and forest programs, and $1.2 billion for sea level rise. And part of this money would be available to local government, which would be cities, counties, and special districts through grants. So we took a vote to support. Incidentally, when we take a support position from the League of California Cities on a proposition, something going before the state voters, it requires a 2/3 affirmative vote of the board for whatever position we take. So it's a heavy lift. So the reason I'm not going to mention one of the propositions we discussed is because we couldn't get to 2/3 on either point of view. We took a support position on Proposition 5, which will lower the vote approval requirements for certain local housing and infrastructure bonds should a local government choose to seek that. It has stringent requirements, but currently if you need bonds to build affordable housing or rebuild a swimming pool, you need a 2/3 vote. This would allow for a 55% voter threshold, which is very similar to what schools have been allowed to do since 2001. And finally, we took a support position on what is now called Proposition 36, which will increase, if approved by the voters, will increase the penalties for theft and drug trafficking. This was brought to us from a consortium or coalition of the district attorneys, police, fire, and other local government agencies. And this initiative is likely to be contentious because it would adjust some elements of Proposition 47, which was adopted by the voters in 2014. But I did ask the DA that was presenting it if it would, in fact, address organized retail theft and some of the problems that we have had in Walnut Creek, and he said yes. So more to follow over the course of time. I will also mention, and you may have heard that in late June, the California Supreme Court in a momentous decision ruled that the Secretary of State was not allowed to put on the ballot the proposition that was proposed by the California Business Roundtable. And the language of their ruling was basically that it would substantially alter the basic plan of government by exceeding the scope of the power to amend the state constitution by way of a citizen initiative, and therefore they ordered the Secretary of State to refrain from placing it on the November ballot. This is good news for all levels of local government, but it most likely will come back in some form in a couple of years. So, and I would finally mention that this Saturday, this is the cultural festival, Fiesta Cultural event celebrating Latino and Hispanic culture. It's all week long, and Saturday is a free street fair in front of the Leisure Center from 12 noon to 7 p.m. And come on down, and hopefully it won't be overly hot. Thank you all very much.
In keeping with the hot theme, the first thing I did catch Cabaret, the production my friend and I were originally supposed to go to was called off because somebody was ill, so we snuck in at the end. And I think we were sitting right here looking up their noses, but it was great to see. Really enjoyed the production. It was very powerful. Now moving on to hot. I managed to escape all of the heat wave by going up to Canada, and so I enjoyed it vicariously through social media. But MCE has a couple things going on that are important for people to think about I know utility bills have gone up dramatically, and so there's a couple things going on. First one is MCE has a program that they announced back in June that gives people in lower income categories up to $25 off their monthly bill. We've already had about 13,000 customers sign up, but it's an important way for people that are struggling with their electric bills to help get some assistance with that, and the MCE website will have that. The other thing that MCE has done is they've updated their website, and they now have a rebate and incentive finder tool. So you can put in, are you an owner? Where do you live? What city are you in? And it will give you a list of all the different kinds of electric rebates, from federal credits, local credits, and you can shop through those. And if you're not a website electrification person, the city of Walnut Creek and MCE are jointly hosting at Calicraft on September 14th from 12 to 4. You can drink beer while you peruse the website. So this will be attractive, I think, to some of my fellow council members. But it's just a chance to go through and learn about how you can electrify your house. And my husband and I changed out a couple things, and I have not had a PG&E bill of any substance for 3 months because it's so much more efficient and the solar is carrying the load. So it's worth it because you'll feel better from a sustainability perspective, but you'll also feel better because your PG&E bill will be much lower. Then the other thing that I did was there was the mountains of California have had tremendous amounts of biomass from both the fires that have gone on and the clearing to help mitigate future fires. And a consortium of community choice aggregators, local land use agencies, water districts, power generators got together up in the town of Lincoln and talked about all the different ways that you could take that biomass and use it to either generate electricity or to do other things. But the biggest, most exciting part of that is there are a couple projects going right now, one with our partner Community Choice Aggregator up in Pioneer that would move a biomass project forward. They will take the chips coming from fire clearing and use it to generate electricity. And that's really important because the California electric grid has so much solar and wind on it now, and solar and wind don't operate all the time. We need additional base load. And if you have a project that's running off of biomass, that is the perfect base load. You just keep putting chips in when you want them to go in, and the electricity comes out the other side. So that was really interesting and exciting to look at. I know it's a big lift. I know the CPUC is not a big fan of it because they remember all those eucalyptus groves that everybody was trying to grow back in the 70s and burn. But this is a much cleaner technology. The last thing that's going on in the world of electric utility rates is the CPUC has been looking at this idea of a fixed charge on electric bills, and they've struggled mightily with this. We'd see little flares go up every now and then. Apparently, they have now adopted a decision to begin applying it in 2026. They don't have it. Originally, the fixed part of the bill was going to be much larger. They've made it much more modest. So an average low-income customer, their bill would, it's about a $3.40 a month change. Customers at the higher end might have a little bit, like up to $9 a month. If you're really conserving, you'll still have to pay this fixed charge. We're still trying to figure out exactly what CPUC decided to do, and there'll be workshops coming up, and there'll be a lot more media on it. But the big splashy thing about how it was going to be so much bigger did not come to happen. So that's the world of electric rates, and hopefully no more heat waves.
Yeah. Okay, I had a lighter schedule. One of my special favorite things to do was to go to the 4th of July concert put on by the Walnut Creek band, and they did a fantastic job. And they even did the noon one at 100 and something temperature at Rossmore. It cooled down to about 90 something degrees by the time we had the one in Civic Park. I also recorded the July mayor's update. Give it a go, because a lot of what we've just heard is already in there, and maybe some things you haven't heard. I testified at the San Francisco Bay Regional Water Quality Board in defense of Central San, and all I can say is, in public, it was an incredibly frustrating experience for all of us. And then as soon as we left, they voted to not amend. I'm going to say there were 3 hours of really good, not just Central Stan, but all of the suppliers had really, really good ideas to slow down this process that puts nutrients in the bay that sometimes triggers the algae blooms that kill fish and basically it's bad for the bay, could kill it. So they just completely ignored everybody's good ideas and went forward with their original plan, which is incredibly frustrating, but hopefully cooler heads will prevail and they will finally wake up to there are better ideas. I led the Contra Costa Mayor's Conference, and we had a lecture by the Contra Costa Fire Department about the wildfire mitigation program. Fascinating work. They're really working hard to do things to prevent fires and contain fires before they get outrageously busy. I visited a business in Walnut Creek under our economic development program, and I'm looking forward to doing more. And I think the thing that is kind of really heartfelt for me and is comes with a joy and a sadness. I have decided not to run for a fourth term on the city council this year, so there's an open seat. That's it for me. Any other things? Okay, we're on.
Well, I'm not going to let that comment pass without at least some comment from me and maybe others, but I really want to thank you for the 3 terms and the 12 years that you have been a city council member. I think anybody that sits here knows how much work it takes, how much involvement there is, how many times we are invited to things that we want to go to and things we go to that we may not necessarily want to go to. And for you to do this for 12 years and being mayor 3 times and finishing your tenure as mayor, I really appreciate that. And I appreciate your service to the community and your constant wanting Walnut Creek to be the best that it can be. So thank you.
Thank you. I've got something great to work with, yeah.
And I just want to say thanks because as Mayor Pro Tem, you actually are teaching me how to be mayor, should I get the opportunity, and I really appreciate that. And I also note that you have been mayor in some of the most difficult years that we have faced, and good on you for surviving some of those years.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I adore this city. It is, I have labeled it Little Camelot, and I truly believe it is a blessed place. And we have an incredible staff that makes it safe and makes it function really well. Senior management, as Kevin said, has rolled up their sleeves a lot of times and just did work that needed to be done. So I'm so proud of, and of course the police department. One of my all-time proudest moments is being somewhere with a police officer and being able to brag about how well they do. Arts and Rec, can't forget the fun. So there is so much about Walnut Creek that is worthwhile, and I am so proud of it. And if I forgot you, I'll get you next time, okay?
And Mayor, I too want to share kind of my deep appreciation for your 12 years of service, for your commitment to the community, for the role model that you've been to me and others that might aspire to serve on the city council in terms of how to be a leader and how to reach out to the community, how to always show up for events. Even on nights I was trying to give you a night off, you still showed up. And I've thoroughly enjoyed serving with you and will look forward to serving with you for the next 6 months. So thank you.
Okay, well,
Well, I can't be outdone. Well, if I say nothing, I'm going to look like I don't like you. It's been an honor to serve with you, and it's not over yet. Let's see how much harder we can make it over the next 6 months. But thank you for your service and for your friendship and your advice and counsel.
My pleasure. Okay, can we talk on something else now? Let's move on to the next item, and Wendy, I think you're up.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Haskew and members of the City Council. My name is Rindy Azevedo, and I'm an administrative analyst in the City Manager's office, and also staff liaison to the Youth Leadership Commission. So I'm here to present the next steps needed to implement Council's direction on the A Seat at the Table pilot program and to officially add student commissioners to the Arts, Pros, and Transportation Commissioners. I just want to note this hearing is a ministerial step required to make changes to the municipal code and reflects previously given council direction rather than new policy considerations. So the recommended action before you this evening is to introduce an ordinance to amend the municipal code to add student commissioners to the Arts, Transportation, and Pros Commissions, and to adopt a resolution amending the commission rules and procedures and the city council handbook. And before we begin, for the purposes of discussion tonight, I'd like to go over a few definitions. These are the terms that are used throughout the updated documents. So commissioner refers to adults who are appointed by the city council. Student commissioner refers to individuals who are both between the ages of 12 and 19 and also students in grades 9 through 12 who are appointed by staff and have a preferential vote. And member or commission member refers to both commissioners and student commissioners. I do want to note that youth commissioner is the usual term that we use to refer to members of the Youth Leadership Commission, and this is a separate and distinct role from the student commissioner. So just to briefly recap the Seat at the Table program, in 2021, the Youth Leadership Commission identified a policy project and developed their initial proposal to add student commissioners to each of the city's commissions. And in 2022, they received input from the various city commissions, from the Public Education Committee, and brought their revised proposal, to the City Council for consideration. Council did approve a pilot program, which we call A Seat at the Table, to add student commissioners to the Arts, Pros, and Transportation commissions. And shortly thereafter, the pilot program began and student commissioners were appointed to serve on those commissions. In 2023, staff conducted an evaluation of the program and based on the positive outcomes, developed a recommendation that the seats be made permanent. And that brings us to 2024, where over the past few months, staff took that recommendation to the Public Education Committee and the City Council for their feedback. And this screen shows a summary of council direction that was provided on May 7th. At that meeting, staff presented an in-depth review of the pilot program, the evaluation, and the various options for making the program permanent. And after some deliberation, the council provided direction to staff, which is summarized here. First, most importantly, council directed staff to amend the municipal code to make these student commissioner seats permanent, and then provided some guidelines on term length, appointment to commissions, and term dates. So the student commissioner roles are 1 year. They have a 1 2-year term, 1 2-year term without an option to reapply for a second term. They are appointed by staff with involvement from the Youth Leadership Commission in the interview process and recommendation, and their term dates would align with the school year running from September to August rather than with the calendar year. So in order to implement council's direction, staff has proposed changes to the municipal code, the council handbook, and the commission rules and procedures. Each of these documents has a specific purpose. So the municipal code is the adopted laws and regulations for the city and is generally limited to directing and prohibiting actions. The council handbook provides guidelines to the city council members on accepted practices and expectations. And the commission rules and procedures provide guidelines to council appointed commissions, committees, and task force, including how to run meetings and codes of conduct. So these 3 documents were amended to include the student commissioners, to define their roles, and to describe the preferential vote. And since publication, based on questions and feedback from council members, we have published an addendum which includes some additional changes highlighted in yellow. And these are available in your council packets, and they're also available online. Additionally, just to clarify, staff did make some additional cleanup type changes for these documents to remove outdated references or to include updates based on current practices. However, this was not intended to be a comprehensive update of those documents, and so if there are additional changes, we would propose to bring those back at a later date. So again, the council recommended action is to introduce the ordinance to amend the municipal code and also adopt the resolution to update the commission rules and the city council handbook. And next steps, if the ordinance is introduced, it would return to council on August 6th for adoption. And with that, I will take any questions that you have.
Are there questions? Okay. I see no questions. I will now ask for public comment. I actually don't see any. Oh, I know I do. Correct me. I have seen a public. But that person isn't moving here, so we're going to assume we're just going to roll forward. Now I will ask for comments, and since you committed to the fact that you had them, please.
Myself. Thank you very much, and thank you to all members of staff who executed this. It is complicated when you're dealing with an ordinance, a policy document, and a handbook. And what you realize as you're cross-referencing them is that maybe there are already some inconsistencies between them that we have to be sure don't happen or get exacerbated. So I have 3, so thank you for the work. Thank you for taking my comments yesterday morning and executing virtually all of them. So I appreciate it. There are, I think, 4 things that are still, and the one that is, the issue that is of concern to me is we have to ensure that if we require residency of those commissioners, those adult commissioners, that it says so in the ordinance and all other documents, because we did have a problem at one point in our recent history that council members Wilk and Francois had to straighten out, and we may not have caught all references to it. So I'm going to give you some page references. In the ordinance on page 3, item 2-1.105, qualifications, the B paragraph, I think we have to insert shall be residents of the city of Walnut Creek, and I checked this with the city attorney before. I appreciate that on page 2 it says that unless otherwise specified, the commissioners, which in this case would be the adults, must be residents of the city of Walnut Creek. So that page is correct. But if you go to pages 6 and 7, so the Arts Commission and the Design Review Commission are the exceptions. The Design Review Commission no longer has any reference to the fact that there are certain, 3 of them may not, only 2 have to be, and it's in the handbook, but it's not here. And then the Arts Commission, where it says, I think that phrase works as long as we remember that commissioner is an adult, and member is any age. So I think page 6 is okay, but page 7 has lost at some point in time the reference that the architects may do not have to be residents of the city of Walnut Creek.
Well, it does say the architects need not be residents of the city.
Oh, I'm sorry. I look for it right.
Up there.
Right there. Okay, so I stand corrected. So it's just the students need to say the city of Walnut Creek on page 3.
Okay, thank you.
We can include that as part of the motion when the council's ready. I haven't.
Okay, are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment?
I'll just make a comment that I really appreciate that we had the pilot program. We saw how well it worked. We saw the enthusiasm among not just the people, the youth commissioners at the seat of the table, but the Youth Leadership Commission as well. Thank you for being the liaison to this, Rindy, and Carla, your involvement as well. And I'm really pleased that we're going to move this forward. I'm going to let Councilmember Silva, though.
Well, okay,
I'm just going to say,
I'm going to, is there more comment?
I just want to say, I really appreciate all the work that you guys put into this, and it is exciting. It's fun to have the kids involved. I really appreciate it. And sometimes they go on and do great things. There was one of the kids that was an Eagle Scout under our program and ended up running for local election and won. And so it's fun to see them go out in the world.
Okay, now, may I have a motion?
I'm going to do this in 2 motions. I move to introduce the ordinance to amend Title 2, Chapter 1, Article 1 of the Walnut Creek Municipal Code as amended tonight to add student commissioners to the Arts, Transportation, and Prose Commissions and waive first reading.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Silva.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilk.
Aye.
Councilmember Francois.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Darling.
Aye.
Mayor Haskew.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
And?
And I move to adopt a resolution amending Policy 102, Commission Rules and Procedures, and the City Council Handbook.
And I'll second.
Okay, and another vote, please.
Councilmember Silva.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilk.
Aye.
Councilmember Francois.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Darling.
Aye.
Mayor Haskew.
Aye,
Motion carries unanimously.
thank you.
Thank you.
And since that is the sum of our agenda, we get to leave while the sun is still up. So I adjourn the meeting until our next meeting, which will be a week from tonight. See you then.